Strive for improvement, time for the blueprint. Minds to elevate, thrive, and demonstrate, planting a movement. Sow the seeds, educate the flourish, building up the team. Our network with purpose, industry is green. Won't scratch the surface, know this call is deep. Nobody gon' outwork us. Yeah, we chasing greatness, trying to give the code. Moving up with patience, foundation stone. Doing what it takes, we're here to break the mold. This for anyone who wanna level up, let's grow.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Plant Movement Podcast. I'm your host, Willie Rodriguez. Guys, we have something special for you today. We have Mr. Kyle. And what Kyle brings to the table is he's a life coach, a business mentor. He's an author of Collar Catholicism. He's a man of faith. And on this episode, he ties everything in together. When you think of what can I invest a small amount of money in that can propel me forward in the biggest way, one thing that gets overlooked a lot is a coach. A coach can really propel you to grow your business, to grow your mindset, and to give you that confidence that you are looking for to take you from level 3 up to 100. I promise you. Think about it. We're excited for you guys to listen to this episode because he ties everything about life into what faith brings to the table as well. And that's something that I like to have my back pinned up against because at times in life, we all know that there's no one else that you can turn to but the man upstairs. And before we get started, I want to give a mention to the people that make this all happen. A's Ornamental Nursery. It doesn't matter how big your list is or small, send it over to A's Ornamental. They will quote it out, send you back an estimate. The team of buyers is on board to locate anything anywhere that is not grown in-house, and Plant Logistics will wrap it all up and take it right to your doorstep. Guys, it's that easy. Without further ado, guys, let's get into this episode. Hold on tight. Kyle, let's hit him with the fire. Let's go. What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Plant Movement Podcast. Today we have a super special guest. We have Kyle, business coach, lifestyle coach, and also homesteading. Drove all the way down from Ave Maria, about 2 hours away on the southern west coast of Florida in the swamplands.
Yes, sir.
All right. I found out that he used to live closer to Miami in Hialeah, but he left before it became the Hialeah that it is today.
Yeah,
so kudos to you, man. Guys, we're here to have fun, educate, and just bring new blood and just a little bit of everything to the table for you guys so we can continue growing as a community. And here we go, man. Kyle, dude, thank you, bro.
Dude, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming, man.
It's awesome out here.
It's cool to see, people come to do this.
Yeah.
Because this was an idea, just like all the things that you've ever done have started with an idea.
Right.
And today we have people like yourself driving all the way. Yeah. So God bless you, brother, and thank you for coming,
man.
For
Appreciate
real.
It. Yeah, right. It's a blessing to be out here, man. I love driving through Homestead and lower Miami. You pass every single farm on the way here. It's a beautiful scenery. You don't want the concrete jungle. You're getting
different.
out of it.
It's different. You don't get this anywhere else.
No.
There's parts of different places that are agriculture towns.
Right.
But that's what they are, a town.
Right.
This is like an agriculture land.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's true Florida, though, right? We're an ag state. We should have even more than this. We've lost that identity in a couple ways, but
I know.
We're back to where we are.
I know. We got a lot of concrete homes being built out here,
do,
which is a lot of people upset about. But,
right.
Dude, we're not here about that. We're here for you.
Yes,
so
sir.
Talk to me. Tell us everything on just how you got started into what you chose to be as your final career path, at least for final meaning today, 2024. Right. Because I know that might change over time. Mm-hmm. But just start off and tell us.
Yeah, I've done a lot of things in my life. I love the quote, a jack of all trades, but the true quote is a jack of all trades is a master of none, but the jack of all trades is better than a master of one. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm sorry, flip that. A jack of all trades is not a master of one, right? But a jack of all trades is better than a master of none. Okay. And so it's better to always be growing and figuring out what you're doing in your life and continuing to progress and to get into new industries and learn new things than to not be a master of anything, right? Or to just sit around and be lazy. And I feel like in our culture today, we've gotten lazy. That's why I've been a coach. I've been a life coach. I've been a coach at every level. I've coached all the way from kindergarten, which is a test of patience, to professional athletes getting ready for the combine, getting ready for the NFL, NBA, or traveling overseas to play overseas. And so, which is another different test of patience, dealing with guys that are ready and stressed out about what their next step is, and it's about to be full on business for them. And so I've learned how to deal with both, but I've also seen people just that don't want it and people that do want it. And I feel like that kind of energy has always driven me as well. I've always wanted something new, something to build, something to create, and something to get into. So that's why I've done a lot. I've done coaching. I've been a youth minister. I've been a politics campaign director. Now I work for the university I graduated from, Ave Maria University, and now I'm the director of alumni. So now I'm getting out, talking to my colleagues, seeing what they're doing, trying to learn new things, and trying to get out there.
That's cool, man. So Ave Maria, the boys from Rise, John graduated there as well, and he does. We actually donated some plants to Ave Maria.
Yeah.
Our
John's
names
good
out
dude.
there, our plaques out there.
Yeah.
With John.
Yeah.
So shout out to Rise, the boys at Rise. If you guys haven't listened to that episode, jump on and listen to the episode. What was it, 56, Eddie? 56. How did you get into coaching? So the coaching you do is what? It's sports coach? It's coaching?
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. How did you get into that?
Yeah, it started out that way, and my dad was always a coach growing up. My dad was a coach for American High School here in Miami Gardens, and then when he became a youth pastor, he was always called Coach V.
Okay.
And so I kind of followed in his footsteps a little bit and was always coaching alongside him. Even when I was 4 or 5 years old on the sideline while he's coaching track, I'm out there yelling, joking around, and having a good time, learning from him. And as I got older and he started to coach younger kids, and I'm in my middle school, high school age, I realized that just helping him, walking alongside, teaching other kids, coaching other kids, I learned more just by coaching and teaching. So it became kind of a passion of mine of like, oh, I can learn a lot more by teaching than I can by just trying to struggle through something and do it. So why not do both? Why not continue to train myself for the career I have while also coaching and teaching so I can learn? You start correcting somebody on something, and you're like, dang, I just did that wrong yesterday.
Who am I?
Right. Right. Who am I to tell you to do it right? So that was something too. And then I started to realize that like the emotional, the spiritual side of the kids you're coaching also needs to be developed. You can't just talk physical and mental to a kid and try to get them to do something. You got to get to their heart as well to figure out who they're going to be as a person, because otherwise a sport is just a sport, but a sport can be so much more, and it can train you for life if you get to the heart as well. So that was something that's kind of passionate about me. I was like, oh man, I can actually change lives. I can actually provide a service that nobody else can. I felt like I had a good gift to it. So I just kept doing it, kept getting more and more involved and doing it at different levels, which was really cool. I was blessed to, I never sought out to train guys for combines. It just kind of fell in my lap just because the people I was around, the good people I was trying to get to.
They saw it in you.
They saw it in me, and so I was blessed to kind of do a few things like that.
It's part of your purpose, part of what God has you here for.
Right. Yeah,
So
it's all a journey.
so you're coaching kids in football and through all ages, and then it turned into more of a life coach.
Right.
And you do that now outside of sports?
Yeah, it's life coaching and business coaching. So I realized that I don't have the energy to keep up with a lot of these kids anymore. Okay. And so outside of I still mentor a lot of kids. I mentor a lot of students at our university as well. I coached there the first year I worked there. I've been there now 2.5 years, so I'm not coaching anymore, but those players always know they can come to me for life advice. But actually during COVID, I developed Cyprus Island Enterprises, which is my company, and I developed it by running political campaigns and advising on those things. And it almost became campaign coaching. It was like teaching people how to do certain things, how to network, how to build funds, how to do a lot of different things. And then it kind of converted into business coaching. So then I was able to kind of get with young entrepreneurs and start to coach them on how to build their business. I helped a few businesses rebrand after COVID because I feel like a lot of people were lost. They didn't know what they were going to do. Man, I didn't know what I was going to do. I just started talking to people and figuring out what they needed and what they wanted to do.
Set up a game plan.
And then we just kind of talked through what are the next steps? So let's move forward. We can't sit here and whine and complain about whatever's going on in the environment. We got to take the environment we're in and then move forward. So it was just like sports. Like you can't control what the other team's going to do, but you can prepare for it. And then whatever they bring, you just bring it back tenfold and then you move forward. So it worked out.
That's crazy, man. You went developing all these skills without even knowing. It's literally God at the end of the day setting you up for what he has next, the next play in your life, dude.
Yeah.
And so now business and life coach. How old are you?
33.
And you have kids?
Yep.
You have kids.
Yep.
So
3 girls.
So 3 girls.
Yeah, so pray
life
for
coach
me.
for real. Guys, this guy can coach you, man. I don't No, you think about it, man, and ask those questions because you're experiencing, let's say, like for your age, you're experiencing, like, let's say the max capacity, other than, let's say, having $100 million in an account, of what a man can experience. Because you have all of the weight on you, which is your husband, so you got that weight on you. You have a home, you got that weight on you. You have your father of 3 girls, so you got that weight on you. Aside from career weight and all this other stuff, and you are walking through it. And while you're walking through it, figuring it out on your own. You are also being able to see other people and tell them, hey, don't do that.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and all of these things, and then even catch yourself.
Right.
Where, because that's you know, that's where it's at.
Right.
You go and you know what you're supposed to do,
Right.
but then you might not do it yourself. Right. But it's easy to point and say, hey, dude, I'm calling you out, but then do you do it on yourself?
Right.
So then the question is, you as a life coach, you as a business coach, can you implement those things in your own life?
Right.
And then if you can do that, that's what I have felt has created that can really make you a beast, really make you a monster and unstoppable, is if you can really train yourself and make a promise. That's why for me, it's spiritual and physical.
Right.
All the decisions that are made, all the things that I see, the way I feel, everything, I tie it all together before I make a decision.
Right.
And it's like, God, what do you want me to do? You brought that to attention, not just to help this individual, but to also help me. And I'm going to cut this out and make a promise to you, done.
Right.
You know, and become that better version.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because that's where we're at.
Right.
You know, and in 2024, I feel like a lot of people are there where they want to better themselves. 99.9 don't do it.
No.
So it's the 0.01 that actually do it.
Right.
And it's cool because you get to work with those individuals. You know, you get a coaching call from somebody that pays you to sit down and talk to them.
Right.
And that's someone that wants to benefit themselves.
Right.
Where forget about the money, forget about everything else. Yeah. It's an impact that is greater than all that.
Right.
And it's going to produce way more than whatever was paid.
Right. Yeah.
So
that internal drive, man, it's different.
It's different.
It's different in some people. They're absolute beasts. Like
and you could see that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You sit down with someone and you see that. We offer that here for our community.
Yeah.
And it's different than a life coach. It's different than just a business coach, even though it's all similar.
Right.
But it's more catered to, let's say, this industry. And yeah, you see it. You see the ones that just want a phone call. Right. That they want to, let's say, spend time and waste time. Right. Which that doesn't happen anymore. Right. And then you see the guys that they're like, hey, dude, I just bought, 3 hours with you. I'm ready to change my life. Right. Exactly. And then you really change their lives. Right. So talk to us about some of the impacts that you have seen on individuals by you being able to enlighten them. God sending you, because at the end of the day, from a spiritual world, that's how it is. God sends you to be that messenger to transform their vision of what their life could be. Right. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so one of my favorite examples is, and I won't say his name, but it's a kid from Naples in a lower end community. I think he's Jamaican. Great kid. He's about 6'5".
Big boy.
Great kid. I tried to get him to train for the combine. I was like, bro, you're huge. But he wanted to play basketball. Okay. So we trained, and we trained hard. Okay. And I'm not a big dude compared to him. Okay. Maybe to some people. But and we're in the gym training, and I'm trying to act like I'm a 6'5", 300 pounder, just trying to bang on him, just trying to hurt him. It wasn't just that. It was the life lessons that we talked about afterwards. I brought my girls around him. I brought my wife around him. I brought my kids around him. And so I was trying to teach him, because he's young. He's just out of college. He doesn't know what he's going to do next. He wants to play ball. So fast forward, we're training for almost a whole year. He had a couple tryouts with the NBA guys, G League guys, these kind of stuff. Nothing ever stuck. Finally, someone came calling from overseas. And he's like, oh, man, I finally got this contract, but I want you to look over it. I do not have a law degree. Yeah. I got some business sense, obviously, but I don't have a law degree. I can't look over contracts. No. And something just didn't feel right. It was almost like God telling me, like, hey, you need to check this out. So I sent it to my uncle, who actually lives in Miami. He's a lawyer in Miami. Okay. Sent it to another friend of mine. I said, hey, just check this out, please. It's a 10-page contract. Yeah. Not bad.
I'm your nephew.
Yeah. Something didn't seem right. So I was like, man, I don't think you should. Come to find out, it wasn't even a real team. Oh, wow. And so, like, just me being there for him, there was this guy trying to start a team in a league in, like, a country overseas. And it's like, he's promising you cash, and he doesn't have it. And so, like, while this contract's better than the other one, it's not that. So we got him out of it, and then it took another 4 months. And that whole 4 months, you could tell, he's hurting. He's like, bro, I had my chance, and it's gone. What the heck? He didn't know if it was – we didn't know this at the time, the whole 4 months. Finally, someone comes calling. Now he's got 2 contracts, one from Australia, one from, I think it was Holland, their basketball league. Holland's a bigger basketball league, but Australia was really starting to take off. They offered him less money, but more incentives and more stuff. He's been playing there for 6 years now.
In Australia?
In Australia. And he's building his life. He's got a girl now. He just had his first kid. I mean, he's being a dad now. He calls me every now and then to just check in. We talk dope, from Australia. I mean, so it's like, and not that I had any part in his life, that much part in his life, but like, I know his dad wasn't that much involved. I know his mom was heavily involved. And then to watch him also come back to the States and really impact on his sister and his family and his siblings and stuff like that, you just kind of see it paid forward. And you see that change in someone's life that I think he would have been fine without me. But just to be a part of that and to be there for him, hopefully there's something that stuck there, and I get to see this young man now grow into like a man and a father and a dad, those kind of things. So that's just one example of opportunities that I didn't go looking. We met playing pickup basketball at the gym I was running, and it was like, cool. I'm working at a church, we have a gym, I'm running the gym, we're just playing pickup basketball. He comes in one day, we hit it off. Weeks later, we're training together. It's like, you can't orchestrate that. Yeah. You can't even, there's no ad on Facebook that does that. No, that's all divine intervention. That's all divine appointments. So
that's cool, man.
Stuff like that is a lot of fun.
And on the business side of things, because it ties into, let's say, what we do here, the business side, business coaching, what are some of the things that you offer for someone listening that might need that extra push or just need somebody to talk to?
Right. So a couple things that I've offered in the past to a couple companies is talent acquisition. And it's really just being able to understand what kind of talent you actually need. Because some people in some industries think they need one thing filled, and in another way you're like, you don't need this person. You actually need this kind of person for this. So it's like, oh, I want someone really outgoing that knows the books and can do all this stuff. You're like, no, you need someone that doesn't want to talk to anybody and can actually hold these numbers down, right?
Exactly.
Or actually, you want somebody who's a little bit more stern, but that's not how, this works in this industry. You actually want somebody who's a little bit more fluid, can kind of social, responsive, or like kind of actually be personable with the people and bring them in, because that's a longer relationship, right? You don't need somebody that's going to go in, lay the hammer down, and make sure it's done. You need somebody to build that relationship so that person comes back, and then that's that customer service. And so a few things is just kind of recognizing talent in those areas, and then also just trying to figure out. I've had a couple young entrepreneurs being like, "Oh, I want to get into this industry. I want to diversify my business into this industry." I'm like, okay, what do you know about it? Nothing. Great. Well, then you need to get an expert in that industry that's your right-hand man and somebody you trust. Okay, let's go find that person. Oh, you know a little bit about it? Let's learn more. Who can we connect with? Who can we learn from? Who can we partner with? Let's find a connection to actually network that, to grow that area out and get you in that industry as fast as possible. And let's do it the right way. A lot of guys are like, oh, I'm really passionate about this. Passion doesn't mean intellect, right?
No.
It's great. Passion, you need it.
Passion will keep you going.
Right.
But it doesn't take care of anything else.
It'll get you out of bed in the morning, but it may not pay the bills for the bed.
It
right?
won't. No, it won't.
So it's one of those things that a few times I've stepped into a company and they've been like, we just need to restructure everything. Okay, let's restructure. What do we got to do? And that doesn't even mean like firing people and hiring people. Sometimes it literally just means moving people around to where they need positions. To be. Right. Yeah. And so there's a few of those services that I've kind of helped.
That's a cool thing for you to be able to go in and analyze everything based on what they tell you and what you see, and be able to give a game plan, because that's what coaches really are. It's a game plan, a mind shift.
Yeah.
Most of the things, like, so I talk to landscapers a lot, and the number one thing that they all tell me is, bro, I need staff.
Right.
So, a landscaper that we supply today,
right,
they're probably like at that $5 million mark.
Okay.
A year. And these are a few guys that they kill themselves.
Right.
They're the guys with, 12 inches stacked up on the dashboard of papers.
Right.
Okay. The back seat of the F-250 is forget about it.
Right.
It's blueprints and crates and a bunch of crap.
Right. Can't even find
probably an old pizza in the back.
Right.
Which is cool. It's okay. Like I've been there,
Right.
But they feel like they will never find that person. How can someone like that go about finding that person?
Right.
I always tell them, jump on these platforms and put an ad out that you're looking for so-and-so.
Yeah.
But for me, I always think that it's them.
Right.
Because, you attract what you are.
Right. Right.
Okay. And, if we were rock stars here doing this podcast, you probably wouldn't be here today because you're not a rock star guy, you know? And that's who you attract. So what would you say to someone like that is looking for, they need that outdoor manager to be able to relieve them of having to be at the job site all day.
Right.
they need the person that can, let's say, manage an office.
Right.
How do you go about finding someone like that, and how do you do that?
Yeah, I think the, like you said, the first thing you got to do is evaluate yourself. What do I want to do? Like, this is my business, but what part of the business is what I'm particularly good at? Because some landscapers are great at the back end stuff. They're great at the business stuff. They're great at the contract stuff. They're great at the blueprints. Some of them are good at the dirt, getting the dirt and get going, or the design, or those kind of things. So you really got to evaluate, what do I want to do? And then everything else I don't want to do, I got to find somebody for that. And that's where you got to start. And then from there, it's whoever's showing up. Right? A lot of times people are like, oh, you know, I got this guy, but I don't think he's qualified to do this, that, or the other. But he shows up every day. He works hard. He's there for you. Loyalty can't be taught, right? And loyalty and trustworthiness can't be taught. It can be learned, but it can't be taught. And so when you already got guys like that, invest in those people. Invest in those guys and bring them up. So a lot of times we're trying to find somebody who has the experience, or if you just take the guy who shows up every day and is actually there for you, teach him. Yeah. Teach him the experience. You may already have the experience to give to him. You just don't want to do that anymore. Yeah. Like, man, I've beat my head into the wall trying to do this part of my job, and I learned how to do it even though I hate it. It's the bane of my existence. It's the bane of my company. Then teach the guy that shows up every day to do that, and he may be awesome at it. Or he can teach the next guy, and then you move him to something else, teach him something else, and just keep. And something that, like, a lot of people are scared to admit, it's almost like a pride thing for business owners, is they think that if they hire the wrong person, they have to keep them on for a certain amount of time because they made a bad hire. Or if they move somebody around, then you have to keep them there because you're the one who made that decision, and you're not humble enough to go, well, that was a mistake. Yeah. Move them back, or move them up, somewhere or else. Move them down. Or right. You don't have to do that. Or you hired somebody. Oh, this is a great fit. 3 weeks in, you're like, terrible fit. See ya. You know what I mean? See ya or move. You know, and it's really the humility of a business owner has to be that. It's got to be, look, this is your project. This is your baby. This is your creation. You have to be humble enough to go, I was wrong. Where can I now be right? Where can I make it right? And I think that's, again, it's a self-evaluation thing. A lot of people are too scared to do that, to be humble and to actually create something better by admitting I was wrong and then moving in the right direction.
No, 100%. 100%. You know, I hire and fire and all that fun stuff here as well. And it is that. It's not about what you have done. It's about your energy when you show up, your belief. Right. You know, just, you know, is your belly full or is it empty? Right, you know, exactly. If you're hungry and you want to grow, people I hire, I tell them, today you're doing this, but I need you open-minded. Right. Because you might be jumping over here, you might be doing this, you might be doing that. The more open-minded you are, the faster the day's going to go, the more opportunities you're going to have for yourself. Yeah. Okay? And then the more we talk as well, and I get to know a little bit more about you, maybe what interests you more, there might be an opportunity to plug you into something like that. Right. Where now you can flourish and grow and be excited to come every single day, and it's not just a J-O-B. Right. It's an actual. It's something with purpose. It fulfills
it's a J-O-Y, right? It's a joy.
A joy. There we go.
Hey. Yeah. No, it's so true. Like even now, like I'll say, like my bosses at Ave, I've been moved in my position 3 times. One of them was a promotion. The other one was the sideways, right? Okay. Because they found a niche in the university that's where my skills are there. I didn't sit there and, you know, whine and moan that, oh, I can't believe they're moving me again. I was like, cool, another opportunity. Let's build. Let's create.
Positive.
Let's roll. And they felt the same way. They were like, hey, you're doing really good in this area, or maybe you're doing okay in this area, but you would do better in this area because of what we see in you. Cool.
You feel like the reason you got plugged into that is because you have a relationship and you've talked to them and let them know more about you.
Yeah, it was being able to just sit down and be vulnerable with each other and actually like, and that's I think a lot of people are worried to be vulnerable with their boss because they feel like the boss will like 100%. Use it against them.
Yes, I see that. Look, man. At the end of the day, a lot of the landscapers out here, it's a cutthroat. Right. Blue collar, but cutthroat. Yeah. You know, and I've seen some of these guys have the worst attitudes. You know, just nasty guys. With me, they're cool because I'm the plant supplier. I'm you know whoever, but with their guys, it's not like that. No, yeah. And you can't expect to, you know, for them to be like that or to be vulnerable or to tell you what's going on. You know, a lot of people are scared of their bosses. Right. Yeah. In all reality, so it starts with the boss to have a positive culture. Right. It starts with the guy that's in charge.
Right. You got to have, if the more secure you make your employees feel, the more secure your company's going to be. That's it.
You heard that, guys?
That's as much as it's going to be. Because literally, if they don't feel secure in their job or in their promotion or even in their trajectory, it's going to feel like eggshells everywhere you go.
If you're the guy that's like, hey, no, don't, you better not waste that because we don't have money for that.
Right.
If you're that guy, then think about it. When do your guys think they're going to get a raise?
Right.
You know, do they feel like in the next 3 years they're going to be there?
Right.
Do they even have a job? You
Do
know,
they feel like the company's going to last?
Do they feel like their company's going to last? Like they see you.
Right.
Do you shave your face? Is your truck falling apart? Do you blow all the money on God knows what with all these things that everybody does?
Yeah.
You know, the more focused you are, is true. The more they'll feel, you know,
and
correct.
the more they'll work for you. You know, you can get more out of them, not just work, but you'll get more out of them. Like, and that's what we want, right? Mm-hmm. We want to have that relationship to build, the company to build. Well, it's built on people. Mm-hmm. One of the quotes in my book is, "People don't quit jobs; they quit people." And so a lot of bosses don't see it that way. They're like, "Oh, he didn't like the job." No, he didn't like you, right? Or maybe the job wasn't a good fit for him, but anybody will do it, especially men. Men will do anything to put food on the table, mm-hmm. right? And so they're not going to quit a job they don't like if they like the boss. Mm-hmm. They may talk to the boss and be, hey, I don't really like the job I'm doing. I'll keep doing it, but is there anywhere else I can go? Well, that's a cool conversation to be able to have with the boss. Most people don't feel like they can have that. Yeah. And so sometimes, like, what I've done in my life is, in my business, I've come in as a third party and said, hey, here's a different perspective, right? And some bosses are great. Like, it's not that they're not doing it. They just are so busy, they're not actually looking into their people, saying, man, I haven't even actually looked at this aspect. But it's just giving an extra eye, you know, an extra peer view, saying, hey, have you tried this? Oh, no, actually, I've never talked to that guy. All right, go talk to him. Let's see what he's interested in. Let's see what he's passionate about. Let's see what he's skilled at. And then we'll teach him everything else, because he keeps showing up. Yeah. I mean, that kid will fold papers for you if you ask him to, you know. Let's get him involved.
Yeah, and I feel like, too, like to get to that level in your business, you got to start to look and appreciate more of your time on earth, mm-hmm. to be able to get to that level of understanding others and even caring to listen to them. Right. Because most business owners are always working in their business. Right. They're not really, they don't have time throughout the day to even think. Right. And that's the reality. Yeah. That's 99% of business owners. So like guys, you can make $300,000 and have $300,000, and you're like, man, what am I going to invest this in? And then you go online and everyone says to buy an Airbnb, to buy stocks, to go, you know, jump on Bitcoin, go get an NFT, a drawing of a monkey, a digital monkey, you know, all of this crap that you see, guys. And that is literally, shut all that stuff off and pay attention. The biggest investment that I have made, that I can tell you guys from my experience, that is recurring and recurring and recurring. It recurs every 2 weeks when I do payroll, is humans, is people. Right. Okay. Yes, we're doing a video now. We're doing something that we're investing $3 million back into agriculture. Right. Because we believe in agriculture. Right. I feel like that's a great, safe place to invest that. Mm-hmm. Better than the stock, better than an Airbnb, better than all that stuff. Right. But the number one is people. Right. Because without people, we wouldn't even be there. Right. We would be, 700 steps back. Right. This wouldn't be existing. Right. And now that there's free time for me to focus on what is important, right, I can spend the time talking to this employee. Right. And I can spend the time talking to that employee. Right. So it's not just investing into things that are materialistic, but also investing into freeing up your time, which is by hiring people. Now you can take that second to breathe, look at all the problems, and actually execute them in a timely fashion with a clear mind. Right. Yeah, it's true. Like, time is your greatest asset, but I think most business owners treat it as a depreciating asset, right? They look at it as, I got to take it and get as much out of it. Or you could just use the time that you have. Mm-hmm. Something I always say too is, like, the best characteristic of perfection is to recreate oneself, right? Okay. So a characteristic of perfection is the ability to recreate itself. God created us in his image, so he's perfect, right? Mm-hmm. And so for us to be perfect, we have to go and then recreate what we are. So, like, your business one day, you're going to get old and you're going to want to retire. You're going to want to pass it on to somebody. What are you doing as a business owner to recreate you to take over your business? How does someone explain that for someone listening? Because I know that the boys that are listening and the girls that are listening to this podcast are here to get more. Right. They're here to grow. They're hungry. Right. They want it, okay? But I don't want them to just listen to a podcast and not being able to apply it. Right. How does one recreate themselves.
Right.
Explain that. How do you recreate yourself?
Yeah.
Does it start with a vision? Does it start with something like a goal?
Right.
Like how does that happen?
Yeah, one of the things, and I talk about it a little in my book, but just to kind of characterize, there's three people you need in your life. Before you think, know, or understand anything, you need three people in your life at all times. And these will be different people throughout your life. It won't be the same three people. You need, and we'll go to scripture, you need a Paul, a Timothy, and a Barnabas. So St. Paul's the great evangelist, right? But the reason he was the great evangelist is because he had Timothy. He had somebody he was mentoring.
Okay.
Right? Which means you need a mentor and you need a mentee. Then you need a Barnabas. A Barnabas was his accountability partner, keeping him on the straight and narrow. The more that you go seek out people in industries that you want to be. So for anyone young out here who's not even in industry yet, maybe you're in high school, you don't know what you want to major in, you don't want to know what you want to go business, college, you don't know what your next step is.
Or you're 40 years old and you're at a JOB and you're tired of
and you want to recreate yourself. Right. Go find somebody that can mentor you through those decisions, because the more that we try to do it on our own, the more we're going to fail, which is fine.
Be in our head.
But we're going to fail way less if we have somebody going, nope, that's not you, right?
Exactly.
That's not you.
Yes.
You don't even like that. Why would you even go down that road?
Exactly.
So find a mentor, and then find an accountability partner to keep you on the straight and narrow. And then as you start to learn something, especially those of you who are 40, 45, 50, and you want to change jobs, switch careers, whatever it is, find somebody that you're mentoring, because again, you learn so much more by teaching than you do by failing.
Wow.
Failure and teaching are the two greatest educators in everything you do.
So you go teach somebody and put light into them, and it'll open your eyes.
100%.
Just like you said earlier, you're pointing, but you have to fix it on yourself.
Exactly. And it's funny, like when you start mentoring somebody starts asking you questions, they start asking you the tough questions, you go, actually, yeah, I failed. I still fail at that.
Yeah.
So here's my advice to you that I'm going to internalize too, and we're both going to work on this together. And then
but that's awesome.
Right.
You
it's
get
good
enlightened.
because then you learn and exactly.
Yeah, because during those conversations when you're, mentoring somebody, you get enlightened with things that you wouldn't normally think of, because you're going to places mentally that you wouldn't normally be.
Right. Yeah.
So
it's so true.
That's dope.
Yeah, and you get a different perspective too, a younger perspective of, that was the younger me that I'm still struggling with something. Like, let's say your mentor or your mentee is, 20 years younger than you. Let's say they're 1 year younger than you. And you're like, dang, they're struggling with the same thing I did when I was their age. But I'm still struggling with it. Or that's how I got past it. Man, I didn't even realize I got past it.
Like that.
And then you're like, wow, how much have I grown without even knowing that I've grown? And then it's cool to kind of see like, okay, where else can I grow? And that's where the other two people come into your life.
And where's the Barnabas?
Partner keeping you on, and then your mentor that's keeping you on the straight and narrow.
The Barnabas is like a what? Someone that gives you tough love?
Oh yeah. My favorite thing with accountability partner is the easiest thing in the world. You find an accountability partner, meet once a week or once a month, right? Check in, hour phone call. And the only question you need to start to ask each other is, what don't you want to talk about? As men, there's a lot we don't want to talk about. There's a lot we don't want to be humbled about.
So you start with that to dive into the problem.
100%.
What don't you want to talk about?
What's the one thing you don't want? I don't want to hear about, things are good. I got this business. I've done it. Yeah. What don't you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Dang, I don't want to talk about my wife. I don't want to talk about this failure. I don't want to talk about this problem in my life. Cool. Let's talk about that. You talk about that gets that out of the way, and then you can get to all the fun stuff.
So it could be something as easy as, let's say, a buddy that you have that you're just open with, you feel comfortable with, and you can be yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have to fake it or lie or anything like that.
Yeah.
And
they're not going to judge you for it.
And they're not going to judge you.
Right.
And you guys can beat each other up of what you're supposed to be doing that you're not doing.
Yeah, and preferably it'd be somebody that is on a similar trajectory to you, but not the same. So like, let's say, you're in landscaping, I'm in higher education, very different industries.
Very different.
You and I are competing, right? So I'm not sitting there going, oh yeah, you got to do this to try to trip you up so I can get a head up on you.
Okay.
It's somebody you trust, somebody that you know is going to give you the right advice for the best thing for you. And then it's just easy. It's just conversation. Build that friendship. There's conflict of interest. No conflict of interest whatsoever. There's no judgment. It's just literally two men just trying to be better.
And that's tough too, because I've come to realize, man, that let's say the circle I have or people around that you can pick up a phone call and you can have that intimate conversation with, that powerful conversation with. Not everyone has that.
No.
Not, and that's something that is tough.
Right.
But that's what's cool about coaches.
Right.
Is that you can get in with somebody like that and have one of those even if it's a 30-minute session, it can be so enlightenful
Right.
that it can blow your mind and literally get you on a different train of thought. And then you can meet that friend tomorrow because now you're thinking completely different. And you wear a different, let's say, version of goggles.
Right.
Because when you get enlightened with something, you see things differently.
Yep. Yeah.
It's like you see the red Corvette.
Right.
You buy a red Corvette, everybody got a red Corvette now.
Right. Yeah.
It's not that everyone has one, it's just that now you see it.
Now you see that everybody has it, yeah.
So
because you want it.
Because you want it. It's that same, let's say, type of thing. And I see that big time just in humans in general.
Right.
That's so cool, man. Talk to us about your book, because we haven't even got to the homestead stuff yet. But talk to us about your book. So you're an author, bro. Congrats, bro.
Dude, that was so much fun.
That to me is something that I feel like I would want to do before I die.
Yeah.
I feel like I have way too many stories to create still before I go to do a book, because I don't think it's going to be 10 books.
Right.
But tell me that, man. What inspired you to become an author?
Yeah, so again, it happened during COVID. Got the call. I mean, God was calling me to just write my story in a way that wasn't so much just an autobiography or something that could almost coach people. It was also another one of these ways where as I'm writing, I started to learn and I started to see how far I've come and how much I've grown, and also ways that I can kind of work in my life and build. And so what happened was during COVID, everything shut down, right? And the one thing that I noticed was that blue collar workers became a really big asset. Everything from landscapers to produce, from plumbers to welders. I got a buddy who was making like $80 an hour being a welder. During COVID was making $200 an hour because no one knew how to weld anymore.
Wow, that's awesome, bro.
Right? And
hey,
so
blue collars for the win, baby.
There you go. And so
we're the top G's out here,
right.
all of us.
And then what I realized personally was I got a lot of people I'm relying on. I got a lot of people that I don't even know I'm relying on. I'm relying on for food. I'm relying on for clothing. I'm relying on for all these things. So then I started to realize, okay, as a man, how can I become less reliant on other people and more reliant on myself? And what that kind of led to the homesteading thing. So we'll get to that. But so then the book for me was, okay, but spiritually, if Christians stopped talking about their faith, the world would starve spiritually, right? If all farmers decided one day they just boycotted and said, no more, we're just keeping everything to ourselves.
We all starve.
We would starve. The world would starve.
Yeah.
If Christians stopped sharing what they believe is true, we would starve. The whole world would starve spiritually, and the gospel would be done. So I wrote this book specifically because I'm Catholic to Catholics, to make sure that we are never the ones that cause the great famine, the great spiritual famine of the world. Oh, wow. Whether that's coming or not, I don't care. I just don't want to see it happen in my time, right? I don't want to be responsible for the greatest spiritual famine of all time. And so it was really just a simple call. Yeah. Simple call to people to just, hey, if you can see your faith as a blue collar business, as a mom and pop shop that's trying to feed the country, feed your family, feed your sphere of influence, you could do a lot just in your little sphere. You don't got to be some great Billy Graham or some great pope or any of those things. You could literally just a sphere of influence to you and make sure everybody around you is fed. And it's easy. So that's kind of the book is a metaphorical pitch of the business, or of the church as a business, and it's a blue collar business feeding the world.
Oh, dope. Dude, what? Bro, when you talk about getting called to do something, you know, purpose, think about that, dude. You're tying in blue collar business and faith and just everything,
right,
all into one. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people might battle. I feel like, what's the name of your book?
Blue Collar Catholicism.
Blue Collar Catholicism. Did you bring one?
I didn't. No.
Okay.
Sorry.
Next one. Next time.
Next time.
That's something that a lot of people deal with, man. A lot of people are looking for answers. They don't know why. And a lot of it has to do with, you know, from my perspective, now that I've gotten closer and closer and closer to the man upstairs, is that lack of him leaves you with not understanding, because you're lacking a whole other version of life, which is the spiritual world. Yeah. You're lacking that. So when you're lacking that, you're trying to figure it out, and you're pretty much blind running around. So of course you're going to hit obstacles. And of course things aren't going to be what they're supposed to be. You don't see why.
Right.
You don't have those goggles on.
Right. You're actually starving in an entire
You're
dimension
starving.
of your life.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're trying to work anything and you're starving,
No, dude,
you
it's
ain't
over.
got the energy.
So that book I feel like is very powerful. I don't even know.
appreciate it.
I don't even know what it is, but I'm sure it's a book that will hit people
appreciate
straight
it,
in the
yeah.
chest. Where can people find it?
Hope so. Yeah. I'm Amazon.
Amazon?
Yep. So I have my company website, Cyprus Island Enterprises.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to that, Cyprus with a U, not a E. So CYPRUS.
We'll put it at the bottom, guys.
Yeah,
in the
well,
description.
yeah, that would be good. And then a pop-up will come up and take you to Amazon. You can get it hardcover, paper, or even Kindle. It's on there as Kindle.
That's
so,
dope,
yeah.
bro. So you didn't chat GPT the
No,
book?
no.
You actually wrote it?
No, I had no. I
He's looking
I
at me
actually
like,
wrote
"Why'd
it.
you do
Yeah.
that?"
No, it took
gotta
me
mess
like
with him, man.
Well, the funny thing is like when I told my my accountability partners, I'm like, yo, I'm writing this book. They're like, you can read?
You can read?
No, but I can write. I could dictate.
Yeah, right? That's funny. man.
No, but I did. I signed on with a couple of buddies of mine who are good editors, and they have an editing publishing company, and they helped me work through the whole process. So I was like, dude, I just got to put paint to canvas and let them orchestrate it, kind of thing. So it worked out really well. But every word is mine, I promise.
No, but that's cool, man. Just that whole process of wanting to do it, being inspired, and then actually going out and making that happen.
Right.
That's powerful in itself that you were able to complete it, and now people can buy it on Amazon.
Right,
that
right.
alone is like a milestone.
And it
dude.
took people. It's another thing that you need people, right? I needed good people in my life who were friends that, again, God brought people into my life that random people that are in my life.
That's your purpose. You were
Right.
meant to
It
write
was
that
meant
book.
to write that book,
because
yeah.
people are gonna get touched when they read that book.
Right. Yeah, I hope so.
That's how this is. We're sitting here today because it's meant to be.
Right.
For someone to hear something, be inspired.
Right.
To be like, man, they understand, or this is how to do it.
Yeah.
It's all based off that.
Yeah.
Talk to us about homesteading.
Yeah.
During COVID, I was same thing. I had 3 kids in diapers. Couldn't buy diapers.
Right.
I had $5,000 in my left pocket. Couldn't buy a diaper.
Right.
Couldn't buy a wipe.
Right.
And it was
Paper towels,
It was
you couldn't buy
frustrating.
tissues, you couldn't do anything.
Lysol was on eBay, half of a can. It was over $1,000 on bid.
Oh, bro.
So it
nuts.
and that's when I realized like how hopeless we really are
Right.
if we don't have the systems in place. So talk to us about that. What inspired you, aside from what you said, to start that, and where are you at on that journey?
Yeah, so, and that's the funny thing is, like, I'm not a blue collar guy by trade,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a blue collar mentality. And so what I did was I started to kind of get into this, okay, how can I be more self-sufficient? How can I make sure the people around me are fed in case something like this happens again?
Mm-hmm.
How can I be less reliant on people, more reliant on myself, my family, my sphere of influence, and God?
Mm-hmm.
So my wife and I started planning to sell our house, which was a hard process during COVID, especially in Florida where everything was escalated. We sold our house. We were looking for some properties with a little bit more land. So we bought a 2.5 acre farm in May. We've been there a year now.
Okay.
And in just a year, I've learned a ton. So my cousin owns a co-op up in Ocala, Central Florida. And they own a very faith-based co-op that they've learned from scratch how to cow, how to chicken, how to everything.
Okay.
How to take care of cows, how to take care of chickens, how to take care of goats, pigs, ducks, everything.
That's awesome.
So I called him, was like, hey, how do I do this? He goes, you're already part of our co-op. We already put you in. All you got to do is get the land. We'll come down and teach you. And so
He does that for people?
Yeah, he does that for people. He actually helped a family get started up a little bit more north of them, more rural Florida, real Florida, and get them a couple cows, get started.
What's the name of them?
The co-op? It's called Grow Cala. Grow Cala. Yeah.
Grow Cala. You already know, guys. If you're interested, reach
Grow
out.
Cala. And so, they basically help people do that. And then he came down, was like, all right, here's what you need. You need a fence here. You need a fence there. We built our chicken coop. Now we got eggs. We got ducks. We're planning for cows. I got to put a whole nother fence in. And then we got cows and goats coming to try to get some meat.
That's awesome.
All those things. So just being a little bit more self-sufficient off the land. My wife's got her starter garden right now, and we're clearing out an area to get her, full-time garden going.
Okay.
And just produce the stuff we eat. Like, we're not even trying to do everything. We're just trying to produce the stuff that we like to eat, that we know we want to eat, the good stuff, and then do it the way we want to do it. So we learned how to compost. Compost is something I would be like, that's a dirty word growing up in Miami. I'm like, I don't know what that is. I'm not putting this junk in my backyard. And now that I'm doing it, I'm like, oh, this is actually really natural. It's really, really cool.
All it is just the food you don't eat, right?
That's it. Yeah. And it's so less waste. Like, I hate taking out trash. That's my duty. It's one of my chores, right? My wife and I share some chores, but some chores are just mine and some are hers. One of mine is taking out trash, and I hate taking out trash. Well, this is less trash I got to take out. I just go throw the banana peels in the pile.
And it's exciting.
It's
you
fun.
get to chuck it from the corner.
Exactly. Right. So it's just really cool. Like, it's a really interesting way to to live, you know, and I get off my job every day and work 9 hours a day, and then I go home and I'm making sure the chickens are fed. I take my daughters out and I teach them. My oldest is 5 and she already knows how to pick up every chicken and put them in the coop, and and she's walking around trying to help me, you know, rally up the chickens, get them in the coop before nighttime and everything. It's really cool.
Those are experiences that you're giving your kids that 99% of kids will not
I didn't
see.
have.
Let's say that live in that city life.
Yeah.
That's something we won't see.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up country style like that here, but my kids don't have that because I don't have chickens and goats and all of that anymore. Yeah. So you're giving them something that they will not have if you didn't have daddy.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It kind of, again, I'm recreating myself. It's something I never had. I never grew up with chickens. I grew up in concrete jungle of Hialeah. Like
Hialeah, guys, is concrete from your driveway touches the asphalt and it's concrete all the way to the wall of the house. Yeah. And then it's concrete on the sides all the way to the back fence. All the way around. All the way. You have like a foot of grass, maybe. And that's it. That's what Hialeah is.
I could have had 9 basketball courts, but 0 football fields. Exactly. Like, I could have literally concrete everywhere. So yeah, it's a completely different lifestyle than I grew up with, than even my wife grew up with. I mean,
what's cool about that is you're linking up too with people that like that.
Right.
So now, the conversations are more towards that, and then you're building towards that. Maybe in Ave Maria, I don't know what your job title is there, but someone like that the college can be like, hey, we want to do something like this here, and now they get a big group of people. Right. It turns into more of a community thing, and that can just fuel the purpose even more.
Yeah, the cool part about Ave too is like I said, it's growing. It kind of feels like one big HOA when you walk in. Yeah. But at the university and now the town, they kind of have this blue collar mindset. Like they do like the more natural stuff. They want to get back to more God's design for nutrition and for life. And so we're actually building an agricultural minor at Ave. And we're one of the only small Catholic schools in the country to have an agricultural minor. And we're calling it Catholic environmental stewardship. So we're not teaching you everything crazy. It's just how to steward what God has given us. So how to take care of the land, how to make sure that the soil is good. It's always good. How to grow your own stuff to repopulate what we're doing.
You're in that?
And so,
you're part of that?
I just get to be a part of it for fun. And then we're getting the town involved as well. So like town can actually sponsor a little grow box or a little garden box, and they can kind of help take care of it with the students that are in the program. And so we're building that this fall, which is really cool. So
that's cool.
We've taken like a little 50-acre parcel of land.
A little 50 acre, guys.
a little tiny 50.
A little quick 50.
Right. Just a quick 50. And so we're taking that little parcel, 30 is going to be crops, and then we'll do the other 20, I think, are going to be either cows or chickens.
But that's so cool. And then they're going to be able to take all the vegetables and fruit home?
Put it right in the cafeteria or take it to their home. Yep. Yeah.
That's so cool, man.
Try to be, as a university, try to be a little bit more self-sufficient as well.
No, but like on their part, like you can look at that and be, let's say the idea gets presented to them. And they can be like, yeah, I guess we could do it, to help out the kids or whatever, help agriculture. Right. But no, like if you're really a visionary, that can be taken to an extreme. Yeah. Like the opportunities that can be created for that school to do that. Right. And the position that they can put themselves in if they take it, serious. Right. They can change the whole dynamic of a generation. Right. By doing that for real.
And it seems like the younger generation's moving that. I mean, we talk about the plant movement, the green movement. I mean, they're moving that way. Everybody's trying to get back to nature. They're trying to it's almost like the more technology pulls us in, the more this younger generation is resisting it. And so guys like you and I, we grew up where it was just starting to kind of advance, pretty quickly. Now it's like advancing 10 years a year. And so it's like, so you have this younger generation of getting it thrown in their face where they're like, I don't want that all the time. I want to be out in nature. I want to do things a little bit better. I want to do things a little bit more realistic.
Or just stay, calm down for a second.
Slow down.
Yeah, because we don't slow down. No. And the generation before us, like after us, they don't slow down. These young kids are filled just content all day.
Right. Right.
I was talking to this young individual the other day that he called me. It was like a mentor call, and I told him, dude, you ready? Right. You ready? I'm gonna punch you in the mouth right now to the phone, because it's what you need to hear, and it's that instant gratification hit that's why you're never gonna get nowhere. Right. Right.
Yeah, so you got to actually take some time and work for it.
Right? You got to work for it and understand there's a process, dude. Like you see somebody, they're a millionaire, and you're like, dude, that's where I want to be, or you see some young kid, 21, he's in a Lambo. Right. It's like, that kid's dumb. Like, you need to understand that that's a dumb move. Right. He should be putting it into something that, 10 years from now, he can buy 10 Lambos.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, for real. Well, and I'll share this quote too for any young listeners. So Ave Maria was founded by Tom Monahan. He's one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our time. He's still alive. I get to talk to him a lot, and I learn a lot from him. Really great.
Okay.
He said a quote the other day. This has stuck with me literally every day I think about it. He said, I was a billionaire, and he was worth like 8 or 9 billion. He sold Domino's for like 3 or 4 billion, whatever it was.
Oh, he was the guy that started Domino's?
Yeah, he was the guy that started Domino's, sold it, and he owned the Detroit Tigers. I get to hang out with him all the time. It's a blessing. It's an absolute blessing. That's more
than a blessing. What's a word stronger than blessing?
Right, I know. Seriously. Yeah.
Hey, Eddie, he gets to hang out with a billionaire. Get out of here.
But and so here's the thing, like, a guy like that, he's in a different caliber. He's in a different level of people.
His mindset, too.
And here's the quote he said. He goes, I was a billionaire. I gave all my money away to start Ave Maria University, Ave Maria Town. I gave it all away. And I became a trillionaire. Not by dollar bills, not by bank account. He became a trillionaire. And so it's like, what is really important in life, right? This guy had billions.
Of dollars.
Right. Billions of dollars in the bank account. Owned the Detroit Tigers. He's got a World Series championship ring with Detroit Tigers. He's got, he used to have the world's greatest car collection.
He's a billionaire.
He's a billionaire.
Yeah.
Gave it all away, and he said, I became a trillionaire.
But he's still a billionaire.
No, I don't think so.
He's not?
I don't even know what he's worth, to be honest.
A trillionaire.
Like, and he walks around, and he's in a suit and tie every day. He's in his 80s. He walks in, he's working. Just blue-collar mentality. Yeah. Working. He may still be up there, but he's giving it all away.
What he's giving away is his time to focus on the future.
To what really matters.
What exactly matters.
really matters. Yeah. And so, it's really cool to hear him say that, because you're like, everybody's striving to be a millionaire, billionaire. Where's my next million? Where's my next 10 million? Where's my next 10? But what are we doing that actually matters, right? Yeah.
No, that's something that I started recollecting on a few years ago. Is that it's have a million,
right?
But I don't have me,
right?
And then like what's priority to me, I don't have, and I can't even attempt to even think about it. Like screw my priorities. It's what I have to do.
Right.
So my mentality is that like this is what I have to do. Like there's no questions asked. And there's no discipline or anything that's going to shift that. It's just I have to do this.
Right.
There's no other option. And then it completely shifted where it's like I don't care about the money. I care about making an impact, and I care about my time. Yeah. More than anything.
And you'll be 10 times more successful.
And that's that trillionaire.
Right.
That's that trillionaire mindset.
And that's how you'll feel, right?
Yeah.
You'll feel almost like you have $1 trillion to spend.
I can spend my time, instead of doing this podcast, we can be doing cold calls.
Right.
And I could sit down and I could try to close, $100,000 every day.
Right.
I could do that.
Right.
But that's not gonna fulfill me.
Then you don't get to talk to the only white boy from Hialeah.
Exactly.
So that's how it works.
Exactly. That has changed the game. That's what it's about, dude. It's not so much about one thing. It's about finding, your purpose, finding what you can do to give back, and then also, respecting your time.
Right.
Where you have time to be with the kids. You have time to do things that can allow others around you to grow.
Right.
You can create opportunities for people. It's not all about you. Everybody's me.
Right.
And the me mindset, man, that gets closed. That door gets closed real quick, because the people that think, the real ones, they think like this.
Right.
Okay. So when you see somebody that's so hungry just over money, that's where the backstabbing comes in.
Right.
That's where the bad business practices and all those things that I don't want to be associated with.
Right.
The guys that bounce checks, all those boys.
Right.
I don't want to be associated with them. Why? Yeah. Because we're after something else.
Right.
And if you're gonna, take time away from my something else that's more powerful for others, to now have to deal with the mistake that you made.
Right.
Like, dude, you're not gonna like what I have to say.
Right.
Exactly. So
and you're not gonna waste my time, right?
Yeah, you're not gonna waste my time.
Yeah.
Dude, it's powerful, bro. I feel like we can talk about so many other things. So like if someone wants to jump into that game of homesteading, you're a great point of contact.
Yeah. I can introduce people to people. I can get them involved, and then I can teach them what I learned as well. I think the biggest thing for me, though, is hopefully I can be an example if it's possible. Because I just want to reiterate, I knew nothing, zero about farming. Farming to me was you had to be an 8th generational farmer who has 1,000 acres or 10,000 acres in who knows where. In Wyoming, where you're almost like Yellowstone. Like you got to be this 20 generation family who moved there and sat down, and now you got it's not true. I'm not a wealthy man. I'm by the dollars.
Yeah.
But I'm a millionaire when
time.
it comes to my
Yep.
family, my time, and what I've been blessed with. And so it's possible. It's one of those things
So
where,
what I love about it is there's no excuses. So you're a man that I don't even know, okay? But I work very good off vibes, energy, and you're a dude that gave up your house. And I'm sure you lived in the city.
yep.
I'm sure you had a nice house.
I love the city.
Okay, well, you gave that up
Yeah.
to go after something more,
Right.
to give
Right.
back, to change the environment for your kids,
Right.
to create opportunities for others.
Right.
A selfless man, and that is what a man is supposed to be.
Right.
Man is not supposed to live for himself, guys. For you guys that are living out for yourselves and you feel empty, there's number one.
Right.
Number one thing for me is that.
Right.
That, you know, you got to give yourself up, and you're giving yourself up to do all these things. And look at all the blessings that have happened in 1 year, the connections that you've made, the things that you've learned, the opportunities you've had. Now you get to help out and assist in a whole agriculture program that God knows where that can go.
Right.
You know, that you could be the coach and
Sky's
the
the
guy
limit.
there. You can sponsor one of those boxes yourself.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like, think about the opportunities, dude, and how big. You know, like, if you're a visionary and you think big, think about how big the opportunities can be by you giving yourself up.
Right. No, it's
And it
awesome.
stems from that, dude.
Right.
So, like, kudos to you, bro.
Thanks, man.
And as far as the business, what do you do? Because we haven't even talked about that.
Yeah.
Cyprus Island Enterprises, what is that? And what is that?
So it's basically a consulting firm. I mean, I
Okay.
go out and I coach and consult in any
Okay.
way it needs. I
Okay.
mean, it could be a business coach, it could be a life coach, it could be a politics coach, it could be anything. It could
Okay.
just be, hey, let's go shoot the breeze.
Okay.
So I started the company in order to work in politics, because politics is a bunch of LLCs just contracted by other LLCs. Basically, is how that works.
Okay.
And then it worked out to where now I can go out and I can consult basically on everything. And so, like, things like this podcast, I go and speak at schools, at churches, at businesses. I wrote the book to kind of have like this niche topic that I can talk about, that I can kind of take it anywhere. That's why we've been talking for an hour.
Smart guy.
You know, be able to do anything. But it's really just that kind of baseline of the business will do anything that anybody needs. I want to fulfill a need that other people need from me that only I can give, or that maybe somebody that I've just connected with, God brings them into my life. One of the things I talk about in the book is my ministry is the next person in front of me. So if God brought them into my life, it's not, oh, see ya. It's, I got to do whatever they need. And if it takes a little bit of my time and maybe I lose some time, but they're better off for it, maybe that's what I got to do. And so it's just that kind of thing. Like you said, the selfless act. My dad, one of the things my dad taught me growing up, and it's actually a virtue in Catholicism, is charity, right? So my dad was like, oh, what's the opposite of love? Everybody wants to say hate. Nope. The opposite of love is selfishness. And so that's why in Catholicism, the virtue is called charity. Charity is not going to a food bank or, you know, donating your clothes, or that's what the world thinks charity is. Charity is any selfless act, is true love. And so, like you said, giving up our house to go do this and to kind of take a little bit of a financial hit to prepare our kids for something greater. That's what we did. And God has blessed it ever since, because we just kind of gave of ourselves, like, yeah, it's going to be more work. It's going to be more struggle. It's going to be more, whatever it is. We've grown so much in that year. And so being able to do that. Right. Just
Imagine
1 year.
10. Imagine
Right.
5.
Right.
Like, for real, dude.
Yeah. Like a year out, I've learned more. Listen, I've learned more about chickens than I ever wanted to know. I worked at Chick-fil-A for 7 years. For 7 years, I learned more about chickens in the last 6 months than I did cooking them.
Bro, your chickens don't have what their chickens have. Their chickens have a whole bunch of stuff.
A whole bunch of stuff.
Dude,
so
man.
it's so funny. Like,
Dude,
I've learned more about chickens than I want to know, but it's awesome. It's so cool.
You are a powerful person, dude.
I appreciate
the
it.
way that you think is something special, because there's not too many people to think about. I'm sure in your circle, you have a lot of people that you look up to, a lot of people that you inspire, aspire to be more like.
Yeah.
But
I surrounded myself with some pretty awesome people.
Just know,
God's
brother,
good.
that it resonates. It resonates,
Appreciate
and I can tell big time, because it is that. And I see so much in you. Like, guys, this is a real dude. This is a genuine guy. I don't even know him like that, but I just know that he is.
Appreciate it.
And, don't ever give up, and the sky's the limit, dude.
No, for
so
sure.
whatever you're
Appreciate
thinking of, just don't forget it can be multiplied by 1,000.
Appreciate it.
And it's all based off what God has in
right.
store for you that you don't even understand.
Right.
You didn't move out there just to teach your kids.
No.
Like, it's a lot more than
There's
that.
a lot more coming.
There's a lot more coming.
I'm excited.
There's a lot more. And you're there at Ave Maria and you do these different things that you do, guys, this guy's awesome. Like,
I appreciate it.
Kyle, we've had some crazy conversations.
Yeah, these are fun, dude.
And I feel like this will be the first one. I feel like we can bring you on to bring more of a niche.
Yeah.
Like we can tie down one topic and dive deep into that one topic.
Yeah, for sure.
Because this is just an overview.
Yeah.
But there's so much more that can be unraveled that can help, our community.
Right. We got to bring you out to Ave when we got the farm set up.
100%.
We'll do the podcast right in the middle of the farm.
Dude,
right?
I would love
Let's
that.
do it.
I would love it. For real. I'm down for all of that, bro.
Yeah, we'll do some fun.
Like anything that gives back, anything that creates opportunities for others,
that'd be awesome.
I'm 1,000%
that'd be a
in.
blast. It'd be fun, too, because our kids, we got some blue-collar kids from all over the country. It's awesome.
No, and you can show us all the things you know about them chickens.
Yeah. Bring the chickens on the set.
We have one question that we ask everybody.
Yeah.
What do you see for the future of the green industry is what we call it, because we're, green industry orientated, but for what you do and the youth?
I think something my wife's been getting into lately is the indoor plants. And like I struggled with allergies my whole life growing up in Florida. And I think the future is for young people especially to understand how actually beneficial they are. My wife did all this research and bought like 19 plants in like one day. Now my house is full of plants. I grew up with fake plants. My mom couldn't keep anything alive. So we grew up with fake plants. We got real plants that she waters every single day. My allergies have been gone. Wow. And so like little things like that, I think are going to be educational for this next generation to realize like actually how beneficial it is to get outside, bring the greens inside and have them around you as much as possible, because they're literally the only thing on this earth that we benefit from and they benefit from us, right? Everything else is either a parasite or something else that we're just using as nutrition or food or stuff like that. But we breathe out carbon dioxide, they breathe it in, and then they breathe oxygen to us. What a better symbiotic relationship is. No,
they vibe with us too. Their energy, everything.
Yeah. And then getting outside and just being in contact with the earth. I mean, I'm not trying to sound like a hippie, but for real, put your bare feet on the ground. Get out the concrete, and I make my kids stand barefoot in our grass for at least 15 minutes a day, because it just helps their whole energy, their whole, all their neurological firings. It evens them all out, and you can see the difference. Like when my daughters go outside, it's a different kid, completely different kid, and they're 5. They can't regulate their emotions. They're not actually actively doing it. It's just doing it. No, I know, right? It's funny when my 1-year-old gets in the grass. She's like, "Nah, I don't like the dirt," and then all of a sudden you're like, she starts playing with it, and you can tell it almost changes. Like she goes from freaked out to, "Oh, I'm cool," and it's really, really cool. She doesn't know how to do that. Me and you know how to. We know how to regulate our emotions because we've learned, but kids don't know how to do that. So that's natural. That's really cool. So I think that's the future of the green moment, is just this education of the younger generation that the more green you have in your life, the good stuff, the plants, the fruits, the produce, it's all good stuff. You don't even need to eat it. Just be around it, as much as possible. Get outside.
I love it.
I think that's the future.
Guys, Kyle, man, Mr. Kyle, you already know. Dude, you're a monster, you're a beast. Guys, check him out. Link down below. You can check out his IG page. You could check out his book on Amazon. Get it if you feel like that'll impact your life. If you're looking for a coach, life coach, business coach, someone that can look at you and just talk to you, feed positivity, white light into your soul. You feel like you're lacking any of the things that we talked about today on this episode. Do not hesitate to reach out to Kyle. This guy is here for you. He's a selfless man that is looking to do what God wants him to do. I don't know what's better than that on earth. And he's connected with some of the best, literally, in the West of Florida.
That's right.
So you already know, Mr. Kyle. So, guys, God bless you. Thank you, my brother, for coming. All right, have a safe trip back. And you guys already know we're going to continue to bring you fire. Thank you, God, for bringing all these wonderful people on this episode, and the podcast, and for you guys to get to listen to it.
Strive for improvement.
So don't take it
Time for the
granted.
blueprint. Minds to elevate, thrive, and demonstrate. Planting a movement. Sow the seeds, educate the flourish. Building up the team. Our network with purpose. Industry is green. Won't scratch the surface. Know this calling is deep. Nobody gon' outwork us. Yeah, we chasing greatness, trying to give the code. Moving up with patience, foundation stone. Doing what it takes. We're here to break the mold. This for anyone who wanna level up. Let's grow.